Admiral Chen's shuttle docked with the SSV Armstrong, Earth's flagship and her home for the past decade. The ship's AI registered her elevated heart rate, but knew better than to comment. The small data crystal from the Exile diplomat weighed heavily in her pocket as she strode through the airlock. "Welcome back, Admiral," Captain Rodriguez said, his formal tone betraying nothing to the Council observers still monitoring their communications. "The crew awaits your address." Chen nodded curtly. "My quarters first, Captain." 10 minutes. Once inside her private chamber, she activated the quantum screening field. Technology officially beyond humanity's capabilities according to Council assessments. The field hummed softly, creating a bubble where not even the most advanced Council surveillance could penetrate. "Artemis, full security protocol," Chen commanded. "Security protocol engaged, Admiral," the ship's AI responded. "We are dark to external monitoring." Chen extracted the data crystal and inserted it into her personal terminal. Immediately, holographic displays illuminated the room with star charts, technological schematics, and most importantly, internal Council communications. "They've been planning this for years," she whispered, scanning the diplomatic transcripts. "The vote was decided before we ever presented our case." According to the Exare's stolen data, the Elder Council races, particularly the Vex hierarchy, had been accumulating evidence of human conflicts for centuries. Earth's rapid technological advancement following the discovery of faster-than-light travel had triggered ancient protocols designed to contain potentially destabilizing species. "Artemis, analyze this propulsion schematic," Chen directed, highlighting one of the technical documents. Analysis complete. The Council's gravitic propulsion systems operate on principles similar to our theoretical models, but with 87% greater efficiency. Chen smiled thinly. "And yet they claimed our designs were fundamentally flawed." She paced the small chamber, mind racing through implications and possibilities. The Exile wasn't merely political, it was deliberately designed to stunt human development, to keep Earth from challenging the technological dominance of the elder races. "Admiral," Captain Rodriguez's voice came through the intercom. "The crew is assembled. I'll be right there." Chen pocketed the data crystal and deactivated the screening field. In the main hangar bay, 300 crew members stood at attention. Behind them, through the massive transparent aluminum bay doors, the blue-white curve of Earth hung suspended against the blackness. Home. Now their prison for the next 1,000 years. Chen stepped onto the elevated platform, her weathered face appearing on displays throughout the ship and on feeds back to Earth, where billions watched with bated breath. Today, the Galactic Council revealed itself not as the benevolent alliance we hoped for, but as an oligarchy afraid of change, afraid of competition. She began, her voice steady despite her fury. "They have sentenced humanity to a millennium of confinement within our own solar system, claiming we are too violent, too unpredictable to join their precious galactic community." She paused, looking directly into the primary camera. "They expect us to wither away in isolation, to tear ourselves apart fighting over the limited resources of a single star system. They expect us to beg for readmission in a century or two, willing to accept any terms they dictate." The hangar remained silent, the crew's faces grim but attentive. "They fundamentally misunderstand humanity," Chen continued, her voice dropping to almost a whisper, forcing everyone to lean in. "We have never needed permission to thrive. From our earliest days, we have faced challenges that should have destroyed us. And instead, we adapted. We overcame. We transformed." Her voice strengthened again. "The Council has not contained us. They have freed us from their restrictions, their outdated protocols, their technological orthodoxy. If they will not allow us into their empire," she smiled, a predator's smile that would have chilled the Council representatives had they seen it, "then we will build something greater." Kaito ran his fingers across the smooth surface of the treaty document, the holographic text shimmering under his touch. "The exact wording is crucial," he said, enlarging Section 17. Paragraph 6. No human vessel operated by or carrying human biological entities may travel beyond the Kuiper Belt boundary. Admiral Chen nodded, her once dark hair now completely white, but her eyes still sharp as a hawk's. And your interpretation? 3 separate loopholes, Kaido replied, tapping the text. First, it specifies human biological entities, but says nothing about digital consciousness. Second, it restricts human vessels, but not autonomous systems we create. Third, it establishes the Kuiper Belt as a boundary, but fails to account for the fact that boundaries in space are not fixed points. The Admiral's weathered face broke into a rare smile. Elaborate on the third point. The Kuiper Belt itself moves as our solar system travels through the galaxy. By the Council's own navigational standards, the boundary shifts approximately 7,000 kilometers every Earth year. In a century, that's a significant distance. Chen wheezed a laugh that turned into a cough. Her medical monitor beeped softly, and her assistant moved forward with water, but she waved them away. So their mighty decree has gaps wide enough to fly a colony ship through, she said after recovering. Now we need the technology to exploit these gaps. Kaido activated his neural interface, summoning a 3-dimensional blueprint that hovered between them. This is what I've been developing at the Solar Forge. We're calling it the Quantum Entanglement Neural Transfer System. The display showed a human brain connected to a complex array of quantum processors. Beside it, a similar array connected to an android body. QENT will allow us to digitize human consciousness and transmit it instantaneously across any distance using quantum entanglement pairs, Kaido explained. 1/2 of each pair stays here in Seoul, the other travels with our seed ships. The Council claims quantum entanglement can't transmit data, Chen observed, studying the blueprint. The Council is either lying or wrong, Kaido replied simply. My team achieved stable data transfer 6 months ago. We've been refining it since. Chen nodded slowly. And these android bodies, they can house full human consciousness. Better than house it, enhance it. The neural architecture allows for expanded processing, perfect memory, and direct interface with any compatible systems. Plus, they can be adapted for environments no human body could survive. The Admiral leaned back in her medical chair, the anti-gravity field adjusting to support her weakening frame. How soon? The seed ships will be ready for launch within 3 years. The first QENT transfers could begin 5 years after that, once the initial colonies are established. Chen's face darkened. I might not live to see it. Kaido moved closer, his voice dropping. That's the other thing I came to discuss. He reached into his pocket and withdrew a small pendant on a chain. This contains a quantum-isolated storage system, capable of housing a complete neural pattern, a consciousness backup. He placed it in her trembling hand. When the time comes, your consciousness can be preserved, Admiral. You could be the first to make the journey. Chen closed her fingers around the pendant, emotions crossing her face. Hope, fear, determination. The Council thought they were sentencing us to a millennium of imprisonment, Kaido continued. Instead, they forced us to innovate beyond anything they could imagine. Within a generation, humanity will exist throughout the galaxy, just not in the form they expected. Chen slipped the chain around her neck, the pendant resting against her heart. And when they finally realize what we've done, Kaido's expression hardened. By then, it will be far too late for them to stop us. The observation deck of Luna Command offered an unparalleled view of the launch spectacle. Each seed ship emerged from the solar forge like a silver tear, catching sunlight as it accelerated toward its predetermined exit vector. The ships were elegant by necessity, no wasted mass, no decorative elements, just pure function honed to mathematical precision. Seed Ship Cluster 17 cleared Saturn's orbit, announced the launch coordinator. All systems nominal. Kaido nodded, his attention split between the magnificent view and the medical telemetry on his neural display. Admiral Chen's vital signs were stable but declining. The medical team had been clear. She had weeks, not months. Tell me about the guidance systems again, Chen requested from her medical couch, voice thin but still commanding. How autonomous are they really? Kato smiled at her persistence. Even now, she questioned everything, probed for weaknesses, planned contingencies. The navigation cores contain quantum processors running fifth-generation adaptive algorithms, he explained, knowing she found technical details comforting. Each ship can make approximately 7 million complex decisions per second, with primary directives hard-coded at the quantum level to prevent corruption. Chen nodded slightly. And if the Council attempts to intercept them? Multiple countermeasures. First, dispersed launch trajectories make tracking difficult. Second, each ship has stealth capabilities reverse-engineered from that Xeri data crystal you acquired. Finally, if detected, they can execute randomized micro-jumps to evade pursuit. A soft alert chimed on Kaido's interface. Seed Ship Cluster 23 is ready for your inspection, Admiral. The elderly woman's eyes lit up. The special deployment. Yes. Would you like to review it now? At her affirmation, Kaido projected a holographic display between them. Unlike the other seed ships, Cluster 23 contained 20 vessels with unique modifications. These carry your consciousness backup, and 19 others selected from Earth's greatest minds, Kaido explained. They'll establish the primary communication hub on Proxima, our closest target. If all goes well, you'll awaken there in just over 4 years. Chen studied the schematics, her trained eye picking out details. The android bodies look different from your earlier designs. They're the Lazarus series, specifically designed for first-wave consciousness transfer, more resilient with redundant systems and enhanced sensory capabilities. In the council chambers 12 light-years away, the Vex Hierarch slammed his crystalline appendage against the speaking platform. The holographic display showed thousands of human vessels dispersing from Sol. This is a clear provocation, he thundered, his translator struggling to convey the harmonic overtones of his rage. They mock our decree. The Xeri representative tilted her head. The vessels contain no human biological entities. The treaty is unviolated. They are extending their reach beyond permitted boundaries. The Hierarch insisted. Sending autonomous technology is not prohibited, countered another representative. Our legal experts find no violation. The Hierarch's crystalline form pulsed with angry light. These are primitive vessels with simple automation. They will fail in interstellar space, achieving nothing but proving human folly. Back on Luna, Kaido helped Admiral Chen into the medical bay where the consciousness transfer equipment awaited. The process would create a perfect quantum backup while leaving her biological consciousness intact. Are you certain about this? He asked gently. Chen touched the pendant at her throat. Completely. I dedicated my life to getting humanity to the stars. One way or another, I intend to see us succeed. Kato nodded to the medical team to begin. As the equipment powered up, Chen fixed him with her fierce gaze. Promise me something, she whispered. When I wake up out there, make sure I have a good view of the stars. I promise, Kaido replied, his voice thick with emotion. The best view in the galaxy. Marina Santos floated in the transfer chamber, neural interfaces connected to her temple, spine, and major nerve clusters. The gel supporting her body maintained optimal temperature while medical nanites monitored every aspect of her physiology. Through the chamber's transparent ceiling, she could see the gathered dignitaries, and beyond them, the rust-red Martian landscape where humanity had achieved its first extraterrestrial colony. Neural mapping at 98%, announced the technician. Quantum entanglement stable across all channels. Kato, now using a hover chair to accommodate his aging body, leaned forward. Marina, are you still comfortable proceeding? She nodded, her expression serene despite being the first human to attempt what many still considered impossible. I've prepared for this moment for 3 years, Director. I'm ready. Kato gestured to the communications officer. Establish contact with Gamma Colony. The massive quantum display activated, showing the android body waiting 20 light-years away. It lay on an examination table, surrounded by autonomous systems that had constructed it from raw materials harvested on the alien world. The body resembled Marina in basic proportions, but with a metallic dermal layer designed to withstand Gamma's intense radiation levels. "Quantum link stable," confirmed the technician. "Ready to initiate consciousness transfer on your mark." Marina closed her eyes. "I'm ready." Kato nodded. "Begin transfer." The chamber hummed as energy flowed through the quantum interfaces. Marina's body tensed momentarily, then relaxed as her neural patterns were scanned, encoded, and transmitted across 20 light-years of space in an instant. On the display, the android body's eyes opened. For several tense seconds, it remained motionless. Then, slowly, it raised one hand, flexing metallic fingers. "Motor functions online," came a voice through the quantum link. It sounded like Marina, but with a subtle harmonic quality. "Sensory input, extraordinary. I can feel everything." The android sat up, turning to face the camera. "Hello, Earth. This is Marina Santos reporting from Gamma Colony." The gathered observers erupted in applause. Kato leaned back in his hover chair, allowing himself a moment of satisfaction. In the transfer chamber, Marina's biological body smiled, experiencing the echo of her transferred self-elation through their still-active quantum link. "How do you feel?" Kato asked both versions of Marina simultaneously. The biological Marina opened her eyes. "Connected, like I'm in two places at once." "It's extraordinary," the android Marina added, standing up and walking to the colony's viewport. The camera followed, revealing the alien landscape, purple-hued mountains under twin blue suns. "I'm here, Director. I'm really here." As the historic broadcast continued, Kaido received a private alert on his neural interface. He discreetly accessed it while maintaining his public composure. The message came from Delta Colony, marked as eyes only. "Indigenous life forms discovered. Preliminary analysis indicates potential for higher intelligence. Council records classified this region as sterile, requesting instructions." Attached were images of delicate spiral structures floating in a methane sea, exhibiting organized movement patterns that suggested rudimentary communication. Kato felt a chill. The Council had either deliberately hidden this discovery or, worse, never bothered to look carefully. Either possibility confirmed what Admiral Chen had long suspected. The Exile was never about humanity's violent tendencies. It was about control of knowledge and resources. He composed a brief response. "Continue observation. No interference. Full documentation. Share findings with no one outside secure quantum network." As the celebration continued around him, Kaido's mind raced with implications. Humanity had just accomplished what the Council deemed impossible: instantaneous interstellar consciousness transfer. And they had discovered what the Council had overlooked or hidden. The game had changed entirely. The seeds of Earth's empire weren't just taking root. They were already bearing unexpected fruit. Dr. Washington manipulated the holographic display with practiced gestures, expanding the bacterial model until its modified DNA structure filled the laboratory. The specimen had evolved on Gamma Colony, where radiation levels would kill any unprotected human within minutes. Instead of merely surviving these conditions, the bacteria thrived on them, metabolizing radiation into chemical energy. "Fascinating, isn't it?" he said to his assistant. "A century ago, we were still debating whether life could exist in extreme environments. Now we're engineering it." His assistant nodded, making annotations in the shared research space. The Poseidon colony just transmitted their latest coral computing breakthrough. Processing efficiency has increased by 300%. Washington smiled. And the Council still believes their technology represents the pinnacle of achievement. The encrypted message from the Council world arrived during Europa's night cycle, routed through 7 quantum relays to hide its origin. Washington was awakened by Artemis, the AI that had once served Admiral Chen and now coordinated Earth's scientific endeavors. "Priority communication, Doctor. Authentication verified as Tendril Diplomatic Service." The tendrils were a middle-tier council species, known for their extensive hydrogen-helium mining operations around gas giants. Their homeworld orbited a neutron star, a fact that now took on urgent significance. The message was brief and desperate. Neutron star TRS-42 entering collapse phase. Radiation levels exceeding safe parameters for evacuation technology. Estimate 16 days until critical. Formal request for human assistance initiated through unofficial channels. Council leadership unaware of this communication. Washington accessed the quantum network, connecting directly to Dr. Lian Chen on Earth. "You've seen the tendril message?" he asked without preamble. Lian nodded, her features, so reminiscent of her grandmother, set in a determined expression. "I have. The diplomatic implications are significant. This is our opportunity." The radiation metabolizing bacteria from Gamma Colony could protect their evacuation ships, Washington suggested, combined with the radiation-absorbing metamaterials developed on Titan. "Can we deploy in 16 days? Washington considered. "We'd need to use the quantum network to coordinate resources from multiple colonies. The bacteria requires specific conditions to reproduce rapidly enough." "You'll have whatever you need," Lian promised. This is exactly what my grandmother anticipated, the moment when the Council's technological orthodoxy would fail them. 72 hours later, 3 unmarked vessels departed from Jupiter's orbit, ostensibly on solar observation missions. Their true destination, the edge of the Kuiper Belt, where they would rendezvous with automated drones carrying the bacterial cultures and metamaterials from various colonies. From there, Council territory lay just beyond. The treaty forbade human vessels from crossing, but these ships carried no human crew, only android bodies housing the consciousnesses of volunteer scientists. On TRS-42's third planet, the tendril population had begun emergency evacuations as radiation levels steadily climbed. Their ships, designed for the controlled environment of Council space, provided inadequate shielding against the neutron star's increasing emissions. The Council's response had been predictable: follow established protocols, sacrifice outer settlements, and preserve core populations only. The Vex hierarchy, safely distant from the crisis, calculated acceptable losses with cold precision. When the unmarked vessels arrived at the edge of the tendril system, planetary authorities initially prepared to fire upon them as unidentified intruders. Then came the transmission. "This is Dr. Helena Chen of Earth, responding to your request for assistance." The name sent shockwaves through the tendril command structure. Admiral Chen had become a legend even among Council species, the human who defied the Exile. And now, despite centuries of Council propaganda painting humans as selfish barbarians, Earth had answered their call for help. What the tendrils couldn't know was that the Helena Chen addressing them was not the original admiral, but her consciousness preserved and reborn in an android body, fulfilling her promise to see humanity's return to the stars. Dr. Lian Chen led the Exile ambassador through the botanical gardens of Earth's orbital diplomatic station. The artificial gravity was set slightly lower than Earth's standard to accommodate their visitor, whose avian ancestry made her sensitive to pressure changes. Above them, a transparent dome revealed Earth in all its restored glory. The atmosphere clearer than it had been in a millennium. The oceans of vibrant blue. "The Vex sanctions have been implemented," the Ixari reported, her translator converting her melodic tones to human speech. "Any species engaging in technological exchange with humans will lose access to Central Council wormhole networks." Lian nodded, seemingly unconcerned. "And how has this affected your people so far?" "Minimally. The Exari maintain our own transportation infrastructure." She paused beside a flowering plant native to her homeworld, grown perfectly in Earth's diplomatic gardens. "But smaller species are suffering. The Novum Collective has already capitulated to Council demands, severing their unofficial human contacts." "A shame," Lian said. "Our terraforming solutions would have saved their third colony from desertification." The Ixari's feathered crest rippled in what humans had learned was an expression of ironic amusement. The Council offers them loans to purchase Council-approved environmental systems instead, at terms that will keep them indebted for generations. They reached a secluded alcove where refreshments awaited. Lion activated a privacy field, ensuring their conversation remained confidential. 6 months ago, the Council dismissed our assistance to the tendrils as a publicity stunt, Lion said, pouring a tea-like beverage for her guest. Now they face 3 similar crises they cannot solve with standard protocols. The Mendari asteroid belt collision, the Zeta Reticuli superflare, the Calliston pathogen outbreak. All regions where human colonies have specialized technology that could help, the Exile observed. Lion smiled. Precisely. We've received unofficial requests for assistance from representatives of 14 Council species in the past month alone. Which brings me to the purpose of our meeting. She activated a holographic display showing star charts with overlaid transportation routes, some solid lines representing existing routes, others dotted lines showing potential connections. The Council wormhole network is efficient but centralized, Lion explained. A deliberate choice to maintain control over member species. We propose an alternative. The display shifted, showing a different network structure, distributed with multiple redundant connections. The Human Cooperative Network, Lion continued, based not on central control but mutual exchange. Each participating species contributes what they do best, receives what they need most. The Exile studied the display. An alliance outside Council control. An alternative to Council dependence, Lion corrected gently. Your species excels at wormhole stabilization technology. Others have resources, specialized knowledge, unique biological adaptations. Earth offers our innovations and coordination. The Council will view this as a direct challenge to their authority. They already view our existence as such, Lion replied. We're simply providing options for species tired of Vex domination. The Exile was silent for a long moment, her compound eyes reflecting the holographic display. The Exile High Assembly has authorized me to share our complete wormhole navigation database, she finally said, and to formally request membership in this human cooperative network. Lian extended her hand in the human gesture of agreement, which the Exile matched with her own 3-fingered appendage. Welcome to the beginning of a new galactic order, Ambassador. As they sealed their historic arrangement, alerts chimed on communication devices throughout the station. The Zeta Reticuli superflare had begun, threatening billions of lives on Council worlds. Within minutes, reports confirmed what Lion already anticipated. The Council's evacuation systems were failing under the extreme conditions. It seems, the Exile observed, that your cooperative network will have its first major test sooner than expected. Lion's expression remained composed, but a hint of her grandmother's steely determination showed in her eyes. Humanity has spent a century preparing for this moment, Ambassador. We will not waste the opportunity. The Emergency Council session had been underway for 7 standard cycles, the longest continuous meeting in over 6,000 years. Holographic displays showed the advancing energy swarm, a collective of space-dwelling entities that fed on stellar radiation. Already, 3 populated systems had been evacuated, their stars dimming as the swarm enveloped them. The Vex hierarch's crystalline form had developed visible stress fractures, signs of severe physiological strain among his kind. His voice, once resonant with authority, now carried undertones of desperation. The Unified Defense Protocol has failed at all implementation points, he admitted. The containment fields cannot withstand the swarm's adaptive behaviors. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Council species accustomed to certainty and order now faced chaos beyond their protocols. In the gallery reserved for observer species, representatives from the Human Cooperative Network watched silently. Though not officially invited, they had been permitted entry under special diplomatic provisions, a tacit acknowledgement of their growing influence. The tendril evacuation model could be modified, suggested a council strategist, if we reroute resources from secondary systems. Insufficient, interrupted the Exile representative, rising from her seat. The chamber fell silent. The Exile had been the first major council species to openly join the human cooperative network, a decision that had shocked the galactic community. The swarm adapts too quickly. Conventional approaches will fail. She paused, then delivered the words the hierarch had been dreading. We propose requesting human assistance. The chamber erupted in conflicting signals, whistles, chimes, harmonic vibrations, as hundreds of species debated simultaneously. The hierarch raised all four of his upper appendages, demanding order. Humanity remains under exile decree, he stated, though with less conviction than in previous centuries. A decree your own emergency powers allow you to temporarily suspend, countered the Exile. The human colonies in the Epsilon sector have developed energy-dampening technology specifically designed for entities similar to the swarm. How do you know this? Demanded of Exelder. Because they shared it freely with any who asked, the Ixari replied simply, while the council classified such research as restricted. The debate raged for another full cycle before the inevitable conclusion became clear. With the swarm now approaching a densely populated region of council space, pragmatism overwhelmed pride. The vote passed with the narrowest of margins. Humanity would be formally invited to assist. On Earth, now a carefully preserved ecological jewel surrounded by orbital habitats, the invitation was received with quiet satisfaction. For centuries, humanity had prepared for this moment, not through military might, but through innovation and adaptation. The human response came not from a single government, but from a distributed consensus of colonies across 3,000 worlds. Within hours, specialized vessels departed from gas giant habitats in the Epsilon sector, carrying equipment that had been refined through decades of encounters with similar energy-based life forms. Leading the mission was Dr. Xiao Chen, great-great-great-granddaughter of Admiral Helena Chen, whose consciousness still existed within the quantum network, witnessing her legacy unfold. The human solution was elegant in its simplicity. Rather than attempting to destroy or contain the swarm, the energy-dampening fields redirected their feeding patterns toward non-inhabited star systems, rich in specific radiation frequencies the entities preferred. The fields created pathways of enhanced stellar emissions, essentially establishing a preserve where the swarm could exist without threatening populated worlds. When the implementation succeeded, the swarm peacefully diverting from council space within days, the political shock was profound. The Vex hierarchy, which had maintained dominance for millennia by positioning itself as the source of the council's technological superiority, faced an unprecedented challenge to its authority. In a private communication chamber, the hierarch conferred with his inner circle. We must reconsider the exile decree, he stated, his crystalline form pulsing with reluctant acceptance. The evidence suggests our assessment of humanity was incomplete. Dr. Xiao Chen stood before the mirror in her preparation chamber, adjusting the formal diplomatic attire that honored 5 centuries of human tradition. The fabric, woven on Earth from materials gathered across a dozen worlds, shimmered with subtle patterns representing human achievement, mathematical equations, artistic motifs, genetic sequences, and navigational charts. Your quantum avatars are synchronized across all 3,728 locations, her assistant reported. Connection integrity at 100%. Xiao nodded, her expression calm despite the historic significance of the day. 500 years after Admiral Helena Chen had been told humanity was unworthy of the stars, her descendant would address the Galactic Council not as a supplicant, but as the representative of a power that rivaled the Council itself. "And grandmother?" she asked. "Admiral Chen's consciousness is standing by in the primary network node. She'll observe everything through your primary avatar's sensory feed." Xiao touched the quantum pendant at her throat, a replica of the one that had preserved Helena Chen's consciousness centuries ago. Appropriate. She started this journey. She should witness its completion. In the council chambers, representatives from over 400 species waited in a silence heavy with anticipation. The Vex hierarch, his crystalline form carefully reconstructed after the stress fractures of the energy swarm crisis, occupied the central speaking platform. Beside him stood representatives from the Council's founding species. The decree of exile against humanity is formally rescinded, the hierarch announced, his harmonic tones carrying through the vast chamber. Earth and its progeny are invited to take their place among the Galactic Council as a full member species, with all attendant rights and responsibilities. The words, unthinkable just decades earlier, drew murmurs of approval from many delegates. The hierarch continued, "We acknowledge that our assessment of human potential was in error. Their assistance during recent crises has demonstrated qualities worthy of council membership." A subtle signal indicated Dr. Chao Chen's arrival, but rather than entering through the main portal as expected, quantum shimmer effects appeared simultaneously at multiple locations throughout the chamber. From each shimmer emerged an identical avatar of Dr. Chen, some appearing human, others adapted to the environments of specific council worlds. The effect was both dramatic and calculated, demonstrating humanity's mastery of quantum technology and their distributed nature. The primary avatar approached the speaking platform, where the hierarch, momentarily disconcerted, yielded the position. Throughout the chamber and across thousands of worlds, Xiao Chen addressed the assembled species in their own languages, simultaneously through her networked avatars. 500 years ago, humanity was judged and found wanting. She began, her voice carrying the subtle harmonic undertones that had become characteristic of human speech after centuries of interaction with diverse species. "Today, we do not come seeking admission to your council." The chamber stilled. This deviation from expected protocol sent ripples of surprise through the assembled representatives. "The exile you imposed did not contain us. It transformed us," she continued. "We have built something that transcends traditional notions of empire or federation. The Galactic Accord we propose is founded not on centralized authority, but on distributed cooperation, innovation sharing, and cultural autonomy." Holographic displays activated throughout the chamber, showing the extent of human achievement. Terraformed worlds where once hostile environments now flourished, preserve ecosystems that had been rescued from extinction, energy systems that worked in harmony with natural processes rather than exploiting them. 173 species have already joined this accord, Xiao revealed, causing visible shock among the council leadership, not through conquest or coercion, but through mutual benefit. "We do not offer membership in our empire. We offer partnership in a new galactic paradigm." In the quantum observation node, Admiral Helena Chen's consciousness watched with satisfaction. The exile meant to punish humanity had instead forced them to innovate beyond the Council's imagination. Facing their own limitations, they had created something far greater than the empire she had once envisioned.